this ride.
Check. Welcome to the Ghostwriter Reviews podcast.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson remains hospitalised in an intensive care unit and is receiving oxygen support, the first leader of a major world power to suffer so drastically from coronavirus complications. 55-year-old Johnson was first admitted to London's St Thomas's Hospital on Sunday night after showing persistent symptoms including a high temperature and a cough for over 10 days. Downing Street says that his condition deteriorated rapidly over 24 hours, although he has not been put on a ventilator as of Tuesday morning. Johnson's personal battle with the virus comes as the country enters what scientists say is likely to be one of the most deadly weeks of the pandemic. Over 5,300 people have so far died in Britain. The UK doesn't actually have a formal line of succession should a Prime Minister become incapacitated. But in the days prior, Johnson had asked Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab to deputise for him where necessary. Even when Johnson was in hospital on Monday, Raab told a news conference that the PM was still in charge.
And he continues to lead the government.
But now Raab stands at the helm, starting with a COVID-19 emergency response meeting on Tuesday morning. Also on Tuesday, it was reported that another member of Johnson's team, Cabinet Minister Michael Gove, is self-isolating as a member of Gove's family is showing symptoms.
After his fight with the coronavirus took a troubling turn. And we want to bring you an update in the meantime on a story we're following overseas. Britain's Prime Minister is in intensive care this morning after his fight with the coronavirus took a troubling turn. Boris Johnson, a key U.S. ally, was moved to the ICU last evening. He was taken to the hospital initially on Sunday after persistent fever more than a week after testing positive. Elizabeth Palmer reports from London.
Britain's Prime Minister spent the night in intensive care getting oxygen, but Downing Street says he's not on a ventilator. Late last week, Boris Johnson emerged briefly from his residence to applaud health workers, but in a Twitter video admitted he wasn't well enough yet to end his isolation.
Alas, I still have one of the symptoms, a minor symptom of I still have a temperature.
That was clearly an understatement. 48 hours later, Johnson was in the hospital.
You've got to do 2 verses.
Early in the outbreak, he fronted the UK campaign to promote hand washing, but also boasted about shaking hands with coronavirus patients, which suggests multiple exposures. Johnson works to stay fit. He's a keen cyclist and tennis player, but he's also 55 years old and male, which elevates his risk of complications from coronavirus. His pregnant partner, Carrie Simons, had coronavirus symptoms too, but she's recovering. Boris Johnson has handed over the running of the UK government to Dominic Raab, who's the Foreign Secretary, as Britain passes another grim milestone in this pandemic. More than 5,000 people have now died here, although there is some evidence that the spread of the infection may peak this coming week. Anthony?
Elizabeth Palmer in London. Thank you, Liz.